She lived the quiet, sequestered life of the high-class Chinese woman, attending to the household duties, which are not light in these patriarchal homes, where an incredible number of people live under the same roof-tree. The sons bring their wives to their father's house instead of establishing separate homes for themselves, and they are all under the watchful eye of the mother, who can make a veritable prison or a palace for her daughters-in-law. In China the mother reigns supreme. The mother-in-law of Kwei-li was an old-time conservative Chinese lady, the woman who cannot adapt herself to changing conditions, who resents change of methods, new interpretations and fresh expressions of life. She sees in the new ideas that her son bring from the foreign schools disturbers only of her life's ideals. She instinctively feels that they are gathering about her retreat, beating at her doors, creeping in at her closely shuttered windows, even winning her sons from her arms. She stands an implacable foe of progress, and she will not admit that the world is moving on, broadening its outlook, and clothing itself in a new expression. She feels that she is being left behind with her dead gods, and she cries out against the change which is surely but slowly coming to China, and especially to Chinese women, with the advent of education and the knowledge of the outside world. In a household in China a daughter-in-law is of very little importance until she is the mother of a son. Then, from being practically a servant of her husband's mother, she rises to a place of equality and is looked upon with respect. She has fulfilled her one great duty, the thing for which she was created. She has given her husband a son to worship at his grave and at the graves of his ancestors. The great prayer which rises from the heart of all Chinese women, rich and poor, peasant and princess, is to Kuan Yin for the inestimable blessing of sons. Sons, give me sons, is heard in every temple. To be childless is the greatest sorrow that can come to Chinese women, as she fully realizes that for this cause her husband is justified in putting her away for another wife, and she may not complain or cry out, except in secret, to her goddess of mercy, who has not answered her prayers. Understanding this, we can dimly realize the joy of Kwei-li upon the birth of her son, and her despair upon his death. At this time, when she was in the depths of despondency, when she had turned from the gods of her people, when it was feared that her sorrow, near to madness, she would take the little round ball of sleep, opium, that was brought rest to so many despairing women in China, her servants brought her the Gospel of St. John, which they bought of an itinerant colporteur in the marketplace, hoping that it might interest her. In the long nights when sleep would not come to her, she read it, and found the peace she sought. End of Preface. Section 1. Letter 1. My dear one, the house on the mountain top has lost its soul. It is nothing but a palace with empty windows. I go upon the terrace and I look over the valley where the sun sinks a golden red ball, casting long purple shadows on the plain. Then I remember that thou art not coming from the city to me, and I say to myself that there can be no dawn that I care to see, and no sunset to gladden my eyes, unless I share it with thee. But do not think that I am unhappy. I do everything the same as if thou wert here, and in everything I say, would this please my master? Mei-ki wished to put thy long chair away, as she said it was too big, but I did not permit. It must rest where I can look at it, and imagine I see thee lying in it, smoking thy water pipe. And the small table is always near by, where thou canst reach out thy hand for thy papers, and the drink thou lovest. Mei-ki also brought out the dwarf pine tree and put it on the terrace, but I remembered thou sayest, it looked like an old man who had been beaten in his childhood, and I gave it to her for one of the inner courtyards. She thinks it very beautiful, and so did I once, but I have learned to see with thine eyes, and I know now that a tree made straight and beautiful and tall by the gods is more to be regarded than one that has been bent and twisted by man. Such a long letter I am writing thee. I am so glad that thou madest me promise to write thee every 7th day, and to tell thee all that passes within my household and my heart. Thine honourable mother says it is not seemly to send communication from mine hand to thine. She says it was a thing unheard of in her girlhood, and that we younger